Before you say another word, ask yourself one question. Will these words protect my peace or destroy it? Most people lose respect, reveal their weakness, ruin relationships, and regret their decisions because they speak when silence would have made them powerful. In this audiobook, you will learn 7 moments when keeping your mouth shut can save your future, protect your dignity, and give you control over your life. If you are ready to stop explaining, reacting, and saying things you later regret, subscribe to the Book Frog and listen until the end. Chapter 1. When you are angry, close your mouth. The most dangerous words you will ever speak are usually spoken when you are angry. Not because you are always wrong, but because anger makes you want to win the moment instead of protecting your future. Someone disrespects you. They accuse you of something unfair. They push the exact wound they know will make you react. Your heart beats faster. Your mind starts preparing 10 different answers, and suddenly you feel that you must say something powerful enough to hurt them back. But that is the trap. The person who can make you speak without thinking can make you regret without trying. In one angry minute, you can reveal a secret, insult someone you love, destroy a friendship, send a message that cannot be taken back, or say words that change the way people see you forever. You may apologize later, but some words do not disappear just because you wish you had never spoken them. This does not mean you should accept disrespect. It means you should refuse to let another person control your mouth. There is a difference between being silent because you are afraid and being silent because you are in control. When you are silent in anger, you are not losing. You are giving yourself time to see clearly. You are stopping your emotions from making a decision your wiser self will have to repair. The strongest response is often not a clever insult. It is a pause. Walk away for 10 minutes. Put your phone down before replying. Drink water. Take a breath. Let the anger pass through you before you allow it to leave through your mouth. Because after the anger becomes calm, you may still decide to speak. But now your words will have direction. They will protect your dignity instead of exposing your pain. You can say, "I will not continue this conversation while we are both angry." You can say, "I need time before I respond." You can say, "You do not get to speak to me that way." These are not weak sentences. They are powerful because they come from control. Do not give people the satisfaction of watching you become the version of yourself they were trying to create. If they came to provoke you, do not hand them your reaction like a gift. Keep your mouth shut until your heart becomes calm enough to choose words that serve your future. Remember this: anger is temporary, but words can stay in someone's heart for years. Your peace is worth more than winning one argument. Chapter 2. Stop explaining yourself to everyone. There is a quiet way people lose their power every day. They explain too much. They explain why they made a decision, why they are tired, why they said no, why they changed, why they are leaving, why they cannot help, why they deserve respect. And the more they explain, the more some people begin to believe they have the right to judge, approve, or reject their life. You do not. Not everyone deserves access to your reasons. When you explain yourself to people who have already decided to misunderstand you, they do not listen to understand. They listen to find one weak sentence they can use against you. You say, "I'm sorry, I just have a lot going on." They hear, "Keep pushing me." You say, "I need some space." They hear, "Convince me that I am wrong." You say, "I cannot do this anymore." They hear, "Give me one more chance to control you." This is why silence can protect you. You do not need to write a long message to prove that your boundary is real. You do not need to defend every decision that brings you peace. You do not need permission to become a different person from the one people were comfortable using. A simple no is enough. "I'm not available" is enough. "I've made my decision" is enough. The people who truly respect you may ask questions, but they will not demand that you destroy yourself just to make them comfortable. And those who become angry when you stop explaining are often angry because they are losing control over you. Remember, Explaining is not always kindness. Sometimes it is fear. Fear that they will dislike you. Fear that they will leave. Fear that they will think you are selfish. But if someone only stays when you keep abandoning yourself, their presence is not peace. It is pressure. You are allowed to be private. You are allowed to protect your energy. You are allowed to let people misunderstand you when the alternative is betraying yourself. Stop standing in court for a life that belongs to you. Say what needs to be said, calmly, clearly, and briefly. Then let your actions carry the rest, because your peace does not need a long explanation. It needs your protection. Chapter 3. Keep your plans away from jealous people. Not every person who asks about your future is happy to see you have one. Some people ask about your plans because they care, but others ask because they want to measure you, doubt you, discourage you, or quietly wait for you to fail. That is why you must be careful who gets to hear your dreams while they are still fragile. When you have a new goal, a new business idea, a decision to change your life, or a plan to leave behind the version of yourself that has been suffering, you naturally want to tell someone. You want encouragement. You want someone to say, "You can do this." But when you share a dream with the wrong person, their doubt can become louder than your own belief. They may not say, "I am jealous of you." Instead, they may say, "Are you sure you can do that?" They may laugh a little. They may remind you of every time you failed. They may tell you to be realistic when what they truly mean is, "Do not become more than me." And if you are not careful, you will begin to see your dream through their limited eyes. You will start doubting the plan that once filled you with hope. You will delay the work. You will shrink your goals just to avoid making other people uncomfortable. You will stay small because someone else could not imagine you becoming great. Do not let that happen. Your plan does not need to be announced before it is built. Your next move does not need to be posted, explained, or discussed with everyone around you. There is strength in moving quietly while your life is still changing. A seed grows underground before anyone sees a tree. In the beginning, your dream needs your discipline more than it needs other people's opinions. It needs your time, your focus, your courage, and your willingness to work even when no one is clapping for you. You do not need 10 people to believe in you. Sometimes you only need to stop listening to the ones who do not. This does not mean you should never ask for help. Wise people seek advice from those who have experience, character, and genuine love for them. Share your plans with people who can guide you, correct you, and protect your confidence, not people who turn every dream into a debate. Learn the difference. A supportive person may challenge your plan, but they will also help you improve it. A jealous person will challenge your plan only to make you feel foolish for having it. One gives you clarity, the other gives you fear, and fear is expensive. It can cost you years. It can keep you in the same job, the same relationship, the same habits, and the same painful identity because you were too busy proving your dream to people who were never meant to understand it. You do not owe everyone a preview of your future. Let them see the result when it is real. Let them see the discipline they never knew you had. Let them see the peace you built without announcing it. Let them see the life you created after they assumed you would remain the same. There is something powerful about becoming successful in private before you become visible in public. So keep your mouth shut about the plan until your actions become impossible to ignore. Talk less, build more. And remember, not every dream needs an audience while it is growing. Some dreams survive because you protected them from the wrong voices. Chapter 4. Do not reveal every wound you carry. There are people who ask, "What happened to you?" not because they want to help you heal, but because they are curious about where you can be hurt. That is a painful truth to learn. When you have been hurt, betrayed, rejected, or deeply disappointed, your heart wants to be seen. You want someone to understand how hard it has been. You want someone to finally say, "You did not deserve that." And there is nothing wrong with needing support. There is nothing weak about crying, asking for help, or speaking to someone you trust. Healing does not mean pretending you feel nothing, but you must learn that not every listener is safe. Not every person who sits close to you deserves to know the parts of your life that still ache. Not every person who comforts you today will protect your story tomorrow. Some people collect your pain like information. Then, when they are angry, jealous, or no longer close to you, they use the things you trusted them with to make you feel small. They remember what made you insecure. They remember who broke your heart. They remember what you are ashamed of. They remember every fear you shared in your weakest moment, and one day they may use it against you. This is why your wounds need wisdom around them. You do not hand an open wound to someone just because they ask to see it. You do not expose the deepest parts of your heart because someone gave you attention for 1 hour. Trust is not built by someone saying, "You can tell me anything." Trust is built when they prove, over time, that they can carry your truth with care. Watch how people speak about others who trusted them. Do they turn private conversations into entertainment? Do they repeat secrets when they are upset? Do they smile in front of someone and criticize them behind their back? If they do that to others, they can do it to you. A person's mouth reveals their character. Be kind, be open when it is safe, but do not confuse closeness with access. Many people can be around you without being allowed inside you. Your private pain is not public property. You do not need to tell everyone why you are quiet. You do not need to explain every scar behind your boundaries. You do not need to reveal the full story of what broke you just to prove that your feelings are valid. Some chapters of your life are for your healing, not for everyone's opinion. There is a difference between sharing to heal and sharing because you are desperate to be understood. When you share with the right person, you feel lighter, clearer, and safer. When you share with the wrong person, you often leave the conversation feeling exposed, embarrassed, or afraid that you said too much. Listen to that feeling. It is trying to protect you. Your story has value. Your tears have value. The struggles that changed you have value. Do not place them in the hands of people who have not earned the right to hold them. You can be warm without telling everyone everything. You can laugh with people without revealing every sadness you carry. You can be friendly without allowing everyone to enter your inner world. Some people may call you distant when you stop sharing every detail. Let them. They are not entitled to the version of you that has learned to be careful. Silence is not always hiding. Sometimes silence is healing. Sometimes silence is how you rebuild your confidence before the world has a chance to question it. Sometimes silence is how you recover from a betrayal without letting the person who hurt you keep receiving updates about your pain. Sometimes silence is how you stop giving attention to people who only notice you when you are broken. You are not required to let everyone witness your recovery. Heal privately if you need to. Pray privately. Cry privately. Work on yourself privately. Let your heart become strong again without making your pain available to people who would never carry it with respect. Then one day they may notice that you are different. You are calmer, more guarded, less desperate to be liked, less willing to explain your past, more peaceful in your own company. They may wonder what changed you. You do not have to tell them. The people who truly deserve your heart will not force you to open it. They will make you feel safe enough to open it naturally. Until then, protect your wounds, not because you are weak, but because you are valuable. Your deepest pain deserves compassion, not an audience. Chapter 5. Silence is better than begging to be understood. One of the most exhausting things you can do is keep trying to make the wrong person understand your heart. You explain your intentions again and again. You replay the conversation in your mind. You write the long message, delete it, rewrite it, and send it anyway. You search for the perfect words because you believe that if they truly understood what you meant, they would finally treat you better. But some people understand you perfectly. They simply do not care enough to respond with kindness. That is the truth that hurts. And it is also the truth that sets you free. Sometimes you are not being misunderstood because you failed to explain yourself. You are being misunderstood because the other person has chosen a version of you that is easier for them to blame, dismiss, or control. You can speak with honesty, patience, and love, and they may still twist your words. You can show them your good heart, and they may still focus on your one mistake. You can tell them how deeply their behavior hurt you, and they may still act as if you are too sensitive. At some point, you have to stop standing in front of a closed heart, knocking harder and harder, hoping it will open. You cannot force someone to see your value. You cannot force someone to care about the pain they caused. You cannot force someone to understand a version of you they have already decided not to respect. And the longer you beg to be understood, the more you slowly abandon yourself. You begin to say things you do not mean just to keep them calm. You apologize for feelings that were completely valid. You lower your standards so they will not feel uncomfortable. You start believing that peace means accepting every disrespectful word, every cold response, every broken promise, every moment when they made you feel like you were asking for too much. But you were not asking for too much. You were asking the wrong person. There is a difference. A person who values you may not always agree with you, but they will try to understand you. They will listen without turning every conversation into a fight. They will care when you say something hurt you. They will not make you beg for the basic respect that should exist in every friendship, relationship, family connection, or workplace. When someone truly cares, you do not have to perform your pain to earn their attention. You do not have to become louder just to be heard. You do not have to break down just to prove that you are hurting. And you do not have to keep chasing conversations that leave you feeling smaller every time. This is where silence becomes powerful. Silence means you stop trying to convince people who are committed to misunderstanding you. It means you stop sending messages to someone who keeps showing you that your words have no place in their heart. It means you stop giving explanations to people who only use them to continue the argument. Silence is not revenge. It is not a game to make someone miss you. It is the moment you decide that your dignity is more important than winning their understanding. You can still love someone and stop explaining yourself to them. You can still wish them well and stop giving them access to your emotions. You can still feel sad about what happened and refuse to chase one more conversation that will only leave you empty. You do not need their agreement to know what you felt was real. You do not need their apology to know what they did was wrong. You do not need them to admit your worth before you begin living like you have it. Your healing cannot depend on someone else becoming the person you needed them to be. That is too much power to place in another person's hands. The moment you stop begging to be understood, you will hear yourself more clearly. You will notice what your heart has been trying to tell you for a long time. You will remember the boundaries you ignored. You will see the warning signs you kept excusing. You will understand that the peace you were trying to get from them was something you needed to give yourself. You may feel lonely at first, because when you stop chasing understanding, there is often a silence that feels unfamiliar. You may miss the conversations, even if they hurt you. You may want to reach out, explain one final time, and hope this time will be different. But ask yourself, how many times have you already explained? How many times have you asked to be treated with respect? How many times have you made your feelings clear, only to be ignored once more? If your words have been clear and their behavior has not changed, you already have your answer. Do not keep asking the same question from someone who keeps answering with their actions. Walk away from the need to be understood by everyone. Speak with truth when truth is needed. Say what you mean with calmness. But after you have spoken clearly, let silence do what more words never could. Let your absence from the argument protect your peace. Let your boundaries speak for you. Let your life become proof that you no longer need to chase validation from people who could not see your heart. One day, you will look back and realize that silence did not make you lose them. Silence helped you stop losing yourself. And that is a victory no explanation can give you. Chapter 6. Let your results speak instead of your mouth. There comes a time when you must stop telling people what you are going to do and quietly begin doing it. You have probably made promises before. You promised that you would change, become disciplined, leave the wrong relationship, improve your health, build a better future, or stop allowing people to disrespect you. In that moment, you meant every word. You felt motivated, certain, and ready. But words spoken during a powerful moment do not transform your life. What you repeatedly do after that moment does. Many people spend more energy describing the person they want to become than becoming that person. They speak about their goals so often that talking begins to feel like progress. They announce the new plan, imagine everyone admiring the result, and enjoy the attention that comes from appearing ambitious. But when the excitement disappears and the difficult work begins, they quietly return to their old habits. This is why your mouth can sometimes become the enemy of your progress. Talking gives you an immediate reward. Discipline does not. When you announce a goal, people may congratulate you before you have earned anything. Their praise can make your mind feel as if something important has already been accomplished. But the real achievement still requires early mornings, uncomfortable choices, repeated failures, lonely effort, and days when nobody notices what you are doing. Your future will not be built by the promises people heard. It will be built by the work nobody saw. If you want to become stronger, you do not need to tell everyone how serious you are. Wake up and do the work. If you want to leave a destructive situation, you do not need to threaten your departure every week. Prepare yourself, make a wise decision, and follow through. If you want people to respect you, stop announcing that you deserve respect while repeatedly accepting behavior that destroys your dignity. Set the boundary and stand behind it. If you want to change your life, allow your habits to introduce the new version of you. People may doubt you in the beginning. They may laugh at your plans, remind you of your past, or assume you will quit as you did before. Let them think whatever they want. You do not need to argue with someone whose opinion will become irrelevant once your results arrive. Do not waste your strength fighting every person who underestimates you. Use that strength to become undeniable. Every hour you spend defending your potential is an hour you could have spent developing it. Every argument about what you are capable of steals energy from the work that would prove it. You cannot build a powerful future while constantly turning around to answer every voice from your past. Let them doubt you while you work. Let them misunderstand you while you grow. Let them believe you are doing nothing while you quietly rebuild everything. One day, the same people who questioned your ability may ask how you accomplished what they thought was impossible. By then, you will understand that you never needed their belief. You needed your own commitment. Real confidence does not constantly announce itself. It does not need to enter every room and explain how powerful it is. Real confidence is quiet because it has evidence. It knows how many difficult mornings it survived. It remembers every private promise it kept. It carries the strength of battles that never appeared in public. A person who is truly changing does not need to convince everyone that change is happening. Their behavior begins to reveal it. They react differently. They choose differently. They stop returning to places that keep hurting them. They become more careful with their time. They no longer answer every insult. They no longer chase every person. They no longer abandon their goals to receive temporary attention. Their peace becomes different because their standards have changed. This is how results speak. They do not only appear as money, success, weight loss, awards, or public recognition. Sometimes the greatest result is that you no longer lose yourself when someone walks away. Sometimes it is that you can sit alone without feeling worthless. Sometimes it is that the words that once destroyed you no longer control your day. That is growth, even if nobody applauds it. You must stop measuring your progress only by what other people can see. Some of your most important victories will happen inside you long before they become visible around you. The first time you control your anger, instead of sending the message you will regret, that is a result. The first time you say no without writing an entire paragraph to justify it, that is a result. The first time you protect a private plan from someone who always discourages you, that is a result. The first time you leave an argument because your peace matters more than your pride, that is a result. These quiet victories are building the person who will eventually create the visible life you desire, but you must remain patient. Results often take longer than promises. A promise can be made in seconds, but becoming trustworthy may take years. You can announce a new life today, but building it may require hundreds of ordinary days when you repeat the right choices without excitement. That is where most people stop. They love dramatic beginnings, but cannot tolerate quiet repetition. They want the result, but they do not want the routine that creates it. They want to be respected, but they do not want to practice self-respect when it requires disappointing someone. They want peace, but they keep entertaining conversations that disturb it. They want success, but they only work when they feel inspired. Your life changes when you learn to continue without applause. Do the work when nobody asks about it. Keep your promise when nobody is watching. Practice the skill when improvement feels invisible. Save the money when spending would bring temporary pleasure. Stay away from the person you miss when returning would reopen the same wound. Choose the difficult action that protects your future over the easy action that comforts your present. This is how results are created, not in one heroic moment, but through hundreds of private decisions that eventually become a new identity. You do not become disciplined by saying, "I am disciplined." You become disciplined each time you act according to your purpose instead of your mood. You do not become confident by repeating that nobody can hurt you. You become confident when you know that even if someone disappoints you, you will not abandon yourself. You do not become powerful by making people fear your words. You become powerful by knowing that your actions are no longer controlled by their opinions. Some people talk loudly because they want to appear strong. But the strongest person in the room is often the one who does not need to prove anything. They have learned that a calm decision is more powerful than an emotional speech. A completed task is more valuable than an impressive promise. And consistent character speaks more clearly than any explanation. This does not mean you must hide every accomplishment or never talk about your goals. There are moments when sharing can inspire others, create accountability, or bring the right support. But before you speak, ask yourself why you are speaking. Are you sharing because it serves the goal, or because you want praise before doing the work? Are you asking for wise guidance, or are you seeking permission from people who do not understand your direction? Are you celebrating honest progress, or are you trying to convince everyone that you are more successful than you feel? Your answer will tell you whether speaking is helping your future or feeding your ego. There is also another reason to let your results speak. People trust patterns more than promises. You can tell someone 100 times that you have changed, but if your behavior remains the same, your words will mean nothing. You can apologize beautifully, but if you repeat the same harm, the apology becomes noise. You can promise loyalty, discipline, love, or responsibility, but people eventually believe what you consistently show them. Do not become angry when someone doubts your change because they remember your old behavior. Give them time. You may have spoken the same promise before and broken it. Instead of demanding immediate trust, build evidence. Become consistent enough that your old patterns no longer recognize you. If you said you would stop reacting in anger, prove it when someone provokes you. If you said you would respect yourself, prove it when loneliness tempts you to return to someone who treated you badly. If you said you would protect your future, prove it when a temporary desire asks you to sacrifice a permanent goal. Every difficult moment is an opportunity to make your actions agree with your words. And when your actions agree with your words long enough, you will no longer need to announce who you are. People will feel it through your presence, your boundaries, your calmness, and your consistency. Perhaps someone once told you that you would never become anything. Perhaps they laughed at your dream, compared you to someone else, or used your failures to make you feel permanently broken. You may still hear their voice whenever you try to begin again. Do not spend your life trying to punish them with your success. Build for yourself. If revenge becomes your motivation, they still control you. You will remain emotionally connected to the person you are trying to prove wrong. Your achievement may grow, but your peace will remain dependent on whether they finally notice it. Your life is too valuable to become a performance for someone who doubted you. Let your success be freedom, not revenge. Let your discipline be an act of self-respect. Let your healing belong to you. The goal is not to make them regret losing you. The goal is to become so whole that their regret no longer matters. Continue quietly until you no longer need the approval you once wanted. Continue until your work becomes stronger than your excuses. Continue until the person looking back at you in the mirror knows that you can finally be trusted. That trust in yourself is one of the greatest results you can ever build. When you trust yourself, you stop making desperate announcements. You no longer need to say, "This time I am serious." You simply begin. You stop warning people that you will walk away. You walk away when the boundary is crossed. You stop explaining that you are becoming stronger. You respond to life with strength. You stop promising that everything will change. You change one decision, one habit, and one day at a time. So keep your mouth shut when talking is stealing energy from your work. Protect the early stages of your transformation. Allow your progress to develop roots before you display its branches. You do not need to tell everyone that you are coming. Arrive. You do not need to announce that you are becoming powerful. Become powerful. You do not need to argue that you deserve a better future. Build one. When your results finally speak, they will say everything your mouth was once trying so hard to prove. Chapter 7. Know when silence is your final answer. Some conversations deserve honesty. Some misunderstandings deserve patience. Some relationships deserve another attempt. But there also comes a moment when you have said enough. You have explained what hurt you. You have made your boundary clear. You have offered another chance. You have listened, forgiven, waited, and hoped. Yet nothing changes. The same disrespect returns wearing a different excuse. The same promise is broken with a new apology. The same person hurts you, comforts you, and then hurts you again. At that point, more words will not save the situation. Silence must become your final answer. This is one of the hardest lessons to accept, because your heart may still want a perfect ending. You want the person who hurt you to understand what they did. You want them to feel your absence, admit their mistakes, and finally give you the apology you deserved. You imagine one final conversation in which everything becomes clear. You will say the perfect words. They will finally listen. They will recognize your value, regret their behavior, and become the person you kept hoping they would be. But life does not always give you that ending. Sometimes the person who broke your heart will never admit that they were careless with it. Sometimes the friend who betrayed you will tell a story that makes you look guilty. Sometimes the family member who repeatedly disrespected you will blame your boundaries instead of examining their behavior. Sometimes you will leave without receiving the apology, explanation, or justice you wanted. That is when you must create your own closure. Closure is not always a conversation. Sometimes closure is recognizing the pattern. Sometimes closure is accepting that their actions have already answered every question your heart keeps asking. You ask, did they ever care about me? Look at how they treated you when caring required effort. You ask, will they change? Look at what happened after the previous apologies. You ask, should I give them one more chance? Look at what they did with all the chances you already gave. You ask, why was I not enough? Perhaps you were always enough, but you were offering your love to someone who did not know how to value it. Do not keep reopening the wound in search of an answer that has already been revealed through behavior. Silence becomes your final answer when the conversation has become a circle. You explain, they deny. You provide examples, they change the subject. You describe your pain. They focus on your tone. You ask for accountability. They remind you of an old mistake. Then somehow you leave the conversation apologizing for being hurt. That is not communication. That is emotional exhaustion. Healthy communication may be uncomfortable, but it creates movement. Both people listen, accept responsibility, and try to improve. Unhealthy communication keeps you trapped in the same argument while nothing in the relationship changes. Pay attention to the outcome, not only the words. A person can say, "I understand," while continuing the same behavior. A person can say, "I am sorry," while expecting forgiveness without change. Madame Rai? A person can say, "You matter to me," while repeatedly treating your feelings as an inconvenience. Words reveal intentions, but patterns reveal truth. When the pattern becomes clear, stop arguing with it. You may believe that remaining silent means the other person has won. You may worry that they will think you had no answer, that their version of the story was correct, or that you were too weak to defend yourself. Let them think that. Your peace is more valuable than correcting every false opinion. Not every accusation deserves a response. Not every rumor deserves your energy. Not every person who misunderstands you deserves access to your explanation. People who genuinely know your character will not destroy their trust in you because of one story. People who are eager to believe the worst were never strongly connected to the truth in the first place. Do not run from person to person trying to control what everyone thinks of you. That battle has no ending. Even if you explain yourself perfectly to 10 people, an 11th person may still misunderstand you. Your job is not to manage every mind. Your job is to live in a way that allows you to respect the person you see in the mirror. Sometimes silence is the only response that protects that respect. But final silence should not be used as a game. Do not become silent to punish someone, force them to chase you, or make them afraid of losing you. That is not peace. It is manipulation wearing the clothing of self-control. True silence is different. It does not secretly wait for a reaction. It does not count how many days have passed. It does not post hidden messages hoping the other person will notice. It does not disappear to create fear and then return when attention arrives. True silence says, "I have understood enough. I no longer need another argument to confirm what this pattern has already taught me." That kind of silence is not designed to control another person. It is designed to release you. There will be nights when your silence feels heavy. You may pick up your phone and begin writing. You may want to send the message that tells them everything one final time. Your mind will promise that this conversation could be different. Before you send it, pause. Ask yourself what you are truly hoping to receive. Are you seeking clarity, or are you asking someone who repeatedly confused you to finally give you peace? Are you expressing truth, or are you trying to make someone feel the pain they refuse to acknowledge? Are you reopening communication because something has genuinely changed, or because loneliness is making the old situation appear better than it was? Loneliness can edit your memories. It can remove the disrespect and replay only the good moments. It can make you miss the person while forgetting who you became around them. It can convince you that any connection is better than silence. But missing someone does not mean they belong in your life. Loving someone does not mean you must continue giving them access to you. Forgiving someone does not mean you must return to the place where you were repeatedly wounded. You can release anger and still keep the door closed. Forgiveness protects your heart from bitterness. Boundaries protect your life from repetition. You may need both. When you choose final silence, you must also prepare yourself for the other person's reaction. Some people will suddenly become gentle when they realize you are truly leaving. They may say the words you waited years to hear. They may promise everything will change. They may remind you of beautiful memories, tell you that nobody will understand you as they do, or accuse you of giving up too easily. Do not judge the future by the emotion of one conversation. Judge it by the pattern of the entire relationship. A person who fears losing access to you may temporarily behave like the person you always needed, but fear can create short-term effort. Only character creates lasting change. Observe what happens after the emotional moment passes. Do their actions remain different? Do they respect your boundary when it becomes inconvenient? Do they accept responsibility without blaming you? Do they change because they understand the harm, or because they are afraid of losing the benefits your presence provided? You do not have to answer immediately. Time reveals what emotional promises try to hide. There are also people who will become cruel when your silence takes away their control. They may insult you, provoke you, spread stories, or search for the exact words that will pull you back into the argument. Do not take the bait. They are not always seeking understanding. Sometimes they are only seeking a reaction that proves they still have access to your emotions. Every response opens another door. Every defensive paragraph creates another opportunity for them to twist your words. Every angry reaction gives them a moment they can use to make your entire decision appear unreasonable. Stay calm. Silence does not mean you have nothing to say. It means you have finally understood that saying it to this person will not create anything useful. However, wisdom also means knowing when silence alone is not enough. If someone threatens your safety, damages your reputation in a serious way, harasses you, or interferes with your work, family, or legal rights, protect yourself properly. Keep evidence. Seek support. Speak to someone trustworthy or to the appropriate authority. Silence should protect you, not leave you unprotected. The lesson is not to tolerate harm quietly. The lesson is to stop feeding pointless conflict while taking the actions necessary to preserve your safety, dignity, and future. Sometimes your final answer is not another emotional conversation. It is a blocked number, a documented boundary, a changed routine, professional support, or a door that no longer opens. The action speaks. One reason people struggle with final silence is that they confuse ending communication with becoming heartless. They remember the other person's pain. They know their history. They understand why that person behaves the way they do, so they continue forgiving behavior that keeps destroying them. Compassion is beautiful, but compassion without boundaries becomes self-abandonment. You can understand why someone is wounded without allowing them to wound you. You can recognize their difficult past without sacrificing your future to it. You can wish healing for them without making yourself responsible for delivering it. You are not cruel for refusing to remain in a place that requires you to lose your peace. Do not let guilt return you to something wisdom helped you escape. People who benefited from your lack of boundaries may call your boundaries selfish. People who were comfortable with your silence during their disrespect may become angry when that silence turns into distance. People who assumed you would always forgive may act shocked when you finally choose yourself. Their discomfort does not automatically mean your decision is wrong. Sometimes their discomfort is evidence that the old arrangement served them more than it served you. For years, you may have been the one who reached out first, repaired every conflict, accepted every excuse, and carried the emotional weight of the relationship. When you stop doing that, the connection may collapse. Do not blame yourself. If the relationship survives only because one person keeps abandoning themselves to maintain it, it is not balanced. Your silence did not destroy it. Your silence revealed what was holding it together. That realization may hurt, but it can also free you. You do not have to keep proving that you are a good person by accepting bad treatment. Your goodness is not measured by how much pain you can tolerate. Your loyalty is not measured by how many times you return to someone who refuses to change. Your love is not measured by how completely you disappear inside another person's needs. Sometimes the most loving thing you can do for yourself is stop participating in the cycle. There will be moments when you question your decision. Healing is rarely a straight road. One day you will feel free. The next day you may miss them. One morning you will feel certain. That evening you may wonder whether you were too harsh. Do not confuse temporary sadness with a wrong decision. A healthy decision can still hurt. Leaving what is familiar can feel painful even when what was familiar was destroying you. Your mind becomes attached to patterns, not only to people. When the pattern ends, the emptiness can feel frightening. Give yourself time to adjust to peace. At first, peace may feel boring because your nervous system became accustomed to uncertainty. You may be used to waiting for messages, guessing moods, preparing arguments, and recovering from emotional storms. When the chaos stops, silence can feel strange. Do not run back to the storm simply because calmness feels unfamiliar. Learn to live in the quiet. Fill it with things that rebuild you. Return to the goals you neglected. Spend time with people who do not require you to earn basic kindness. Care for your body. Strengthen your mind. Reconnect with the interests you abandoned while trying to keep someone else satisfied. Let silence become space. Space to think without pressure. Space to remember who you were before the pain. Space to discover who you can become after it. You may never receive the ending you wanted, but you can still create a new beginning. The final answer does not always need to be spoken because your decision has already said it. Your refusal to argue says, "I no longer need to prove what I experienced." Your distance says, "Access to me requires respect." Your consistency says, "I will not be pulled back by temporary promises." Your healing says, "What happened to me will not decide what happens next." This is the deepest power of keeping your mouth shut. You stop giving your life away through endless explanations, emotional reactions, public plans, and repeated arguments. You collect your energy and return it to the one place where it can truly change something, yourself. You use that energy to build the life you kept postponing. You use it to repair the confidence that constant disrespect weakened. You use it to become someone who no longer fears being misunderstood because you finally understand yourself. Not every ending will feel fair. Some people will leave believing their own story. Some will never recognize your value. Some will remember you as the problem because accepting the truth would require them to confront themselves. Let them carry their version. You carry your peace. Your future does not require everyone from your past to agree with your decision. It requires you to stop reopening doors that lead to the same pain. So when you have spoken honestly, listened patiently, forgiven wisely, and given enough chances, allow yourself to stop. Stop arguing. Stop proving. Stop begging. Stop returning. Let silence close what words could not repair. And if they ask why you became so quiet, you do not need another long explanation. Your peace is the answer. Your distance is the answer. Your changed life is the answer. Sometimes keeping your mouth shut is not the absence of a response. It is the strongest response you will ever give. There is a moment when one more conversation will not bring clarity. It will only reopen the wound. You have already explained what hurt you. You have already asked for honesty, respect, consistency, or change. You have given them opportunities to understand. You have listened to their excuses, accepted their apologies, and hoped their behavior would finally match their promises. But nothing truly changed. The same disrespect returned. The same lie appeared in a different form. The same boundary was crossed. The same person who promised to protect your peace became the reason you could no longer find it. This is the moment when silence must become your final answer. Not because you have nothing left to say, but because you have finally understood that saying more will not change someone who benefits from ignoring you. Some people do not need another explanation. They need to experience life without access to the person they kept taking for granted. You may believe that leaving silently is cruel. You may feel guilty for not giving them one more opportunity to explain themselves. You may worry that they will call you cold, selfish, immature, or heartless, but ask yourself, how many opportunities have you already given them? How many nights have you spent thinking about a problem they refused to take seriously? How many times have you forgiven the same behavior because their apology sounded sincere? How many pieces of yourself have you sacrificed to keep a connection alive that was slowly destroying you? There comes a point when continuing to explain is no longer love. It is self-abandonment. Silence becomes necessary when your words have repeatedly been heard but never respected. It becomes necessary when conversations are used to confuse you instead of resolve anything. It becomes necessary when someone knows exactly what hurts you and continues doing it because they believe you will never leave. Your final silence says, "I will no longer participate in my own destruction." It says, "You had access to my heart, but you treated that access as if it had no value." It says, "I am finished arguing for the respect I should never have needed to beg for." This kind of silence is not empty. It contains every conversation that led you to it. People may only see the moment you stop responding, but they will not see the hundreds of moments that came before it. They will not see the nights you cried, the explanations you repeated, the boundaries you softened, or the chances you gave. They may tell others that you disappeared without a reason, because admitting the reason would require them to face their own behavior. Let them tell the story that protects their image. You do not have to interrupt your healing to correct every lie told about your departure. The people determined to believe the worst about you will not suddenly become fair because you provide more details. They may take your explanation, remove the parts that expose their behavior, and use the rest to make themselves appear innocent. Stop giving your truth to people who only want material for another argument. Your silence does not need to convince everyone. It only needs to protect you. However, final silence should not come from a sudden emotional reaction. It should come from clarity. Do not use silence as a weapon to punish someone, make them panic, or force them to chase you. That is not peace. That is manipulation wearing the clothes of self-control. If you go silent only because you want someone to beg for your return, you are still controlled by their reaction. You are still watching the phone. You are still waiting for the message. You are still measuring your value by whether they notice your absence. True silence is different. True silence is not designed to create a reaction in them. It is designed to create safety within you. It is not saying, "I hope my absence hurts you." It is saying, "Your presence will no longer hurt me." That difference changes everything. Before making silence your final answer, speak clearly when it is safe and necessary. Express the boundary without threats. Say what behavior you will no longer accept. Give the other person an opportunity to show whether they are willing to listen and change. Then watch what they do. Do not become hypnotized by another beautiful apology. Watch the pattern. An apology without changed behavior is only a pause before the next wound. Tears are not proof of transformation. Promises are not proof of character. Regret is meaningful only when it produces responsibility. A person who truly values you will not only fear losing you, they will care about why you were hurting while you were still there. Notice that carefully. Some people panic when you walk away, but they were completely comfortable while you were suffering beside them. They do not miss your heart. They miss your availability. They miss the forgiveness you gave too easily. They miss having someone who remained loyal while they behaved carelessly. When such a person returns, they may say everything you once wanted to hear. They may promise that this time will be different. They may suddenly understand every point they ignored before. They may remind you of the good memories and make you question whether leaving was a mistake. This is when silence becomes difficult. Not when you first walk away, but when loneliness begins editing your memories. Loneliness has a dangerous habit of showing you the beautiful moments while hiding the price you paid for them. It reminds you of the laughter, but forgets the anxiety. It shows you the affection, but hides the disrespect. It makes you miss the person while forgetting who you became around them. Do not allow one lonely evening to return you to a life that took months to escape. When you feel tempted to respond, remember why you became silent. Remember the conversation that finally exhausted you. Remember how often your feelings were dismissed. Remember the promises that were broken after you trusted them again. Remember the version of yourself who kept asking for the bare minimum and wondering why it felt impossible to receive. Your silence is protecting that version of you now. Do not betray them again. There may be days when you want closure. You may want one final conversation in which the other person admits everything, apologizes sincerely, and gives you an explanation that makes the pain understandable. But closure does not always come from the person who hurt you. Sometimes the person who created the confusion cannot be the one who gives you peace. They may never admit what they did. They may never explain why you were not treated with care. They may never understand the damage they caused. If your healing depends on their honesty, you may remain trapped for years. Closure begins when you accept what their pattern has already told you. Their inconsistency was an answer. Their repeated disrespect was an answer. Their silence when you needed support was an answer. Their decision to hurt you after knowing your wounds was an answer. Their refusal to change was an answer. You may not like the answer, but you do not need to keep asking the question. Some endings will never feel complete. You must choose to complete them yourself. You complete them by accepting that love without respect is not enough. You complete them by refusing to return to a place where you must lose yourself to be accepted. You complete them by understanding that missing someone does not mean they belong in your future. You can miss them and remain silent. You can love them and remain distant. You can forgive them and never give them access again. Forgiveness does not mean reopening the door. Sometimes forgiveness means releasing the anger while keeping the lesson. You do not have to carry hatred to maintain a boundary. You can wish someone well from a distance. You can hope they become better without volunteering to be hurt while they learn. You can recognize their pain without making it your responsibility to repair them. Compassion does not require self-destruction. Perhaps you stayed because you understood their past. You knew they had been betrayed, neglected, rejected, or abandoned. You saw the wounded person beneath their harmful behavior, and you believed that enough love would finally make them feel safe. But understanding why someone hurts you does not make the hurt acceptable. Their wounds may explain their behavior, but they do not excuse it. You cannot love someone into changing when they are committed to avoiding responsibility. You cannot heal another person by allowing them to keep injuring you. You cannot become their peace by sacrificing your own. At some point, your empathy must include you. Your final silence is not a denial of their humanity. It is a recognition of your own. Silence may also become necessary with people who constantly provoke you. They know what to say to make you angry. They misrepresent your words, question your character, and pull you into arguments where every response creates another accusation. They do not want resolution. They want your reaction. Your anger gives them a story to tell. Your emotional message becomes evidence they can show others. Your attempt to defend yourself gives them another opening to continue the conflict. Do not enter every battle to which you are invited. Some battles are won by refusing to fight on ground designed for your defeat. When someone insults you publicly, you may feel pressure to answer immediately. When they spread a false story, you may want to explain yourself to everyone. When they send a cruel message, your hands may shake with the desire to respond. Pause. Ask yourself whether your answer will solve the problem or feed it. There are situations where you should calmly correct false information, protect your reputation, document harassment, seek help, or address behavior through proper channels. Silence should never mean ignoring danger, abuse, threats, or serious wrongdoing. But after you have taken the necessary action, you do not need to continue an emotional argument with someone who has shown no interest in truth. Protect yourself wisely, then stop feeding the chaos. Your peace is not proven by how many arguments you win. It is proven by how few meaningless arguments can control you. Many people fear final silence because it feels like losing. You may believe that if you stop responding, the other person wins. They get the last word. They continue believing they were right. They walk away without fully understanding your. From this moment forward, remember that silence is not emptiness. Silence is the space where wisdom enters before emotion makes a mistake. It is the boundary that protects your private pain, the shield that keeps jealous people away from your plans, and the strength that prevents one angry moment from damaging your future. You do not have to respond to every insult. You do not have to explain every decision. You do not have to reveal every wound. You do not have to convince people who have already decided to misunderstand you. And you do not have to announce the person you are becoming. Let your calmness speak. Let your boundaries speak. Let your discipline speak. Let your results speak. There will still be moments when you want to react. Someone will test your patience, question your choices, or try to pull you back into the version of yourself that argued, chased, explained, and begged to be understood. When that moment comes, pause and ask yourself, will these words protect my peace, or will I regret them later? Your answer may save a relationship, a reputation, an opportunity, or an entire future. Speak when your words can create truth, healing, protection, or progress. But when speaking will only feed anger, reveal too much, or continue a pointless battle, keep your mouth shut and walk forward with dignity. You are not weak because you chose not to react. You are powerful because they could not control you. You are not losing because someone misunderstood you. You are winning because you did not abandon yourself trying to change their mind. You are not empty because you became quiet. You are finally full of peace. If this audiobook helped you recognize where your words have been costing you peace, subscribe to the Book Frog and share it with someone who needs to hear this message, and write this in the comments as a promise to yourself. My silence will protect my future. From today, say less, observe more, react slowly, and choose your words carefully, because once your peace becomes more important than proving your point, nobody will ever control your mouth or your life again.